Hey, this is Sarah, and I'm back for part 2 of our Junior Gardener Badge. So we have some fun stuff we're going to do today. We're going to play around in the dirt a little bit, so that's always fun. We're going to check up on our seed experiment that we did last week. We're going to also look at the pothos that I took a cutting of to see how it's going. There's a little bit of progress with that one. We're also going to visit the cute little aloe plants, babies, and we'll learn how we can separate those and then repot those little aloe babies. And then we're going to work on a container, and we're going to plant some flowers in that for my front porch. And then we're going to kind of talk about our design, because part of the steps for the Junior Gardener Badge is that you guys have to plant a garden. And we kind of talked about last week how garden doesn't have to be a big vegetable garden, because a lot of times when you say garden, that's what people think. A garden can be something as simple as a flower garden or a container with plants in it. So you don't have to think big scale, like, oh my goodness, I have to till up the soil and plant all these vegetables. We can do small scale too, so don't worry about that. So I'm trying to show you some different ideas of things that you can do to make your own garden, and hopefully that inspires you, because next week, that's the step I want you guys to do, is to plant your own garden. Just a few little reminders though before we get started. It is early registration time, and the deadline to receive those special incentives from GSEI is Friday. So if you haven't renewed your Girl Scout membership, I definitely encourage that you do that soon so that you can get those bonus items like the t-shirt, the patch, and then you can also sign up for that special program too. So make sure you do renew your membership by Friday and turn in the paperwork for that so that you can get all those incentives, because who doesn't love a cool Girl Scout t-shirts? Basically all quarantine, I've been wearing Girl Scout t-shirts, so I need another one, right? Because we're still in this. So make sure you do that. It's a really cute shirt this year. It's yellow and it has a bee on it. It says proud to be a Girl Scout. So definitely renew your membership. If you're not a member, I highly encourage you to give it a try. You can go to our website, getyourgirlpower.org, and check it out. Get all the information, research it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us and hopefully you'll join. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our gardener badge. So the first thing we want to do is check up on what we did last week. So last week we did some seed experiments using bean seeds, and we had 3 different bags, and I have those bags with me today. So we had one that we just did a paper towel with a few seeds in it, and then we got the paper towel wet. And then the other one, we put some potting soil in it, and the potting soil was already wet, but then we made sure that we continuously made sure it was wet too. I only had to spray this maybe one time this week, and that was it. So pretty low maintenance experiment, because there was enough moisture in the soil already. I didn't have to spray it that often. And like I said, you don't want to over wet it, because then you're going to have mold and stuff grow in it, or your eggs, your seeds might get a little slimy. The paper towel one, I did have a slimy seed because it was pretty wet in there. To help reduce that, you can open up your bags and let them be open to help get some circulation and help some of that water evaporate. So if you have that issue, keep your bags open. Just make sure if you're taping it to a window, it's taped really well so it doesn't fall, and then you have potting soil and a big mess everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to seal that up just in case I accidentally drop it. And then our third one, we had the potting soil, put the seeds in, and then I said not to water this one. So that NW on there stands for no water. Okay, so I'm going to show you a closer look of what my seeds did. If you did this experiment, if you want to comment on how your experiment has turned out so far, please do that, because I love seeing what you guys are doing. So if you did this experiment at home, just do a quick little comment about what happened to your seeds. But with this one, we can see that there are a few seeds that did sprout. So we have this one here. You can see it's got a nice little stem on it, and then quite a few roots there at the bottom. And then we have another one that just emerged the other day, so it's been growing like super fast. So we have that one too. And then we have one other one that's just starting to sprout out, this one right here. And then the other one is mush. So that one got a little bit too much water on it and it became a mushy bean. So I actually am going to remove that and get a fresh paper towel in here, because if you open this bag, it's super smelly. And I don't want that in my house. So I'm going to remove that seed that's just mush and leave these other ones in there. But we can see that it's starting to grow some nice roots and sprouts for us. So that is our paper towel with water. The next one, we did the potting soil and then we watered it as needed. And you can see this one definitely has sprouted. So it's got a nice, really tall sprout that's starting to get some leaves to form on it. And then you can see there is a second one over here too that's starting to emerge. And you can see the roots all the way down to here. So the roots are growing really well in this one as well. Now I did put like 3 or 4 seeds in here, so they're in there somewhere. I'm sure if I were to dig around, I could probably find them and they would be rooting and sprouting as well. But this one looks nice and normal and strong. So that is our one that we watered. And then our last one, this is the one that we did not water. This actually just popped up since yesterday. So this one, we have one little sprout there forming. It does have some nice roots in it. You can see the roots all the way down here. That's one of the advantages of using a plastic bag, so you can see how well those roots are actually growing. So far we have one sprouting here. So we're gonna keep these going. So we'll look back, look at them again next week too. So keep your beans growing, or whatever you planted. Like I said, you can use other types of seeds. It's just that beans tend to germinate or sprout a lot faster than other ones. So you can see this one's growing really well too. But we want to see the changes. So you can definitely tell there's a difference between these two. So the one that got water and the one that I did not water. Okay. And then even with that one that's in water but not soil. So we're going to let these go, talk about them next week, and try to figure out why they're so different. Okay. So that was that one. And next I'm going to do something I mentioned last week that we're going to have a paper we're going to work on. This is called My Garden Elements. This is, I'm actually going to flip the screen because I forgot to do that. That way you guys can see what I see. Or maybe I can't do it. There we go. There. All right. So it's My Garden Elements, and this is something that you can use to help plan out your future garden. So this is downloadable on our website, and I'll include the link on this at the end too. So if you didn't have a chance to print this out, you can, or if you don't have access to a printer, you can just write this on a piece of paper too. So we have 3 different columns. We have garden elements. So there's different categories here. We have annual flowers and vegetables, perennial herbs, flowers, and vegetables, and hopefully you remember what those are. So our perennials are the ones that come back every year. Our annuals are the ones that you have to replant every year, so they don't come back every year, okay? And then we have landscaping, so if you have bricks, stones, pebbles, mulch, anything like that. Planters or pots. Decorations, so if you like to have your garden gnomes or anything like that, you can include that. Scarecrows, weather stations, any decorative items that you have. And then pest weed control, so if you have anything to help keep the critters away or the weeds away, you'll write that down. And then theme, so if you actually have a theme for your garden or not. So then you just go back and you inventory what you have, because it's kind of nice to know what you have before you start planning what you want to add to it. Okay, so with mine, I kind of went through the one that I have, and I did plant some vegetables last weekend. I have some green and red peppers, jalapenos, and tomatoes. So the area that I'm doing is actually right outside of where I'm at now. I have a white fence out there, and it's kind of two-sided. It's on a retaining wall too. On one side, I kind of have a vegetable garden that I'm doing, and then the other side, I have a lot of perennials, and I usually do my containers for fruits and vegetables up front because it gets a little bit more sun than the back side. Then my perennials, I have hostas, hydrangeas. I also have obedient plants. landscaping, brick border, fence. I use red mulch because I just think it looks cool against that white fence. I don't have any pots or planters there now, but I will. And that will go to my what do you want in your garden. So that's going to go to my what do I want. This is what I have. I also have some shepherd hooks for decorations. I usually do some bird feeders and then some hanging baskets too. I also have some little cute metal cutouts of a squirrel and a frog that I put out, and then I have some little owl decorations too. For pest and weed control, I do put down landscaping fabric under my mulch, and that helps keeps the weeds from popping up on us. And then the theme, I just put easy. I like easy, so that's my theme for my stuff. Something that doesn't require a lot of maintenance. That's why I do a lot of perennials, so I don't have to go back and do it all over again the next year. So you're gonna work on this, write down what you have, and then what you want to have. So examples would be, so for me, what I want to add to my garden, I want to add some more vegetable plants. And I'm gonna do some strawberries too, so fruit too. And I'm gonna do those in containers, so a little bit different than putting it in the ground. And I'll actually do that next week so you can see how it's done. I'll probably try to add a few more perennials in the front side too, just because we remulched and refabricated and kind of loosened the soil this spring, and my husband kind of just raked away some of the plants that were there, so I didn't save them. So I'm gonna have to fill in some stuff, so I'm gonna have some fillers. So I would add that to it. The planters and pots, I would add that. My containers for my vegetables. Landscaping, I think it's pretty good right now because we just remulched it. It looks really good. Decorative items, I don't think I'm really gonna add much more. I just need to get the stuff out of my basement and put it out there. Because I do put it away in the winter time. And then pest weed control, I've already done that with the landscaping fabric, so I don't think I need to add anything different. And the theme, I'm gonna stick to easy. Easy theme. I like that theme. I'm not gonna change my theme. You can definitely change your theme. So if you think it's kind of blah and you wanna spruce it up, you can come up with a new theme for yours too. So work on this and try to find some cool things that you could add to your garden. And even if you're just doing a container, think about the area that you're gonna put the container and everything else too, okay? And then the other thing I want you to try to do is draw what you're gonna be planting. So you can just use some paper. You can actually use the back side of this if you want to, or you can get some fresh paper. And I just want you to do a sketch, okay? It's just a sketch. Don't feel like it's got to be professional looking. As long as you understand it, that's all you need. And I usually just use something like colored pencils, because then you can kind of color code things too if you wanted to. And well, adding colors makes it better than just using a pencil. So if I was doing mine, I would draw kind of how it would look if I was looking above it, okay? Because mine's two-sided, that'll make it a lot easier. So if I had my fence, actually I'm gonna draw my house too, because my house is kind of right on the corner of it. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna be sloppy. So this is my house. Oh wait, I flipped the screen, so now I'm confused. This is my house, and then this would be my fence. I do have a little gate, so I'm just gonna kind of put the gate spout there. And then I would go in and I'd fill in what I already have, unless you plan on making some big changes. So I already have my brick border. So I would kind of draw in my brick border as close to the shape that I can think it is. It gets pretty big by the house. There you go. So you would add the shape of your border. The back side, again, I have a border there. If you want, you can actually go and measure it all out if you really want to plan it out. That way you know how much space you have. That's going to help you know how many plants you can have in that area. I'm just going to keep this easy because I'm just going to do a quick little sketch. That way we can get on and move on to other fun things that we can get dirty with. So I have my little border there, and then I would just draw in, or you can even just write in the plants that you would add. So if you notice that over here, I have a bunch of hostas. So maybe I would just color that in with a certain color, and then you can make a key on top, and you can say hostas brown. So you remember what's there. and then you can use other colors to kind of draw it out. Okay, so it doesn't have to be beautiful. As long as you can understand your drawing, that's all that matters. So don't feel pressured to make everything perfect. It's for you to understand what you want to plan out and actually plant, okay? Now let's get dirty. So we are going to work with the little aloe that I had. And I'm going to flip the screen because it's just a lot easier for me to see. There we go. Okay, so we have my beautiful aloe that had a bunch of babies here. So you can see this is the parent plant here, and then it has all these little babies rooted from it. So I'm going to show you how you separate it. You do want to be gentle because you don't want to damage the root system when taking it out of the pot, and you also don't want to snap any of your branches either. I'm going to put some gloves on just because I hate getting this dirt in my nails and making a big mess. I did put something down here on the table too to help keep my workspace clean. Originally I planned on being outside, but Amron's outside working very loudly and our neighbor is mowing, so I had to move all this inside at the last minute so you guys could actually hear me. Okay, so all you're going to do is take your aloe and gently take it out of the pot. It's best to do this when the soil is dry. So you don't want to water it right before you're going to do this. Because it just makes it a little bit easier to move things when it's a little bit drier, and things break apart a lot easier that way too. So I'm going to gently, and I hope I don't hurt her. There we go. So you can see she's coming out. There we go. So parent plant is out, and now we are going to separate the roots of the babies. And you can see these roots right here. I'm going to move this just a little bit so you guys can see a little better. There we go. So you can see all the little roots right here. This is what we're going to separate. And you can see that one actually came apart like super easy. You can see that one. I'm going to set this to the side. And I'm actually going to remove all of the babies, because there's really no reason to keep them there with the parent plant. You can see there's another one. And again, just be really gentle. Don't pull, just try to move that soil. And these are really great gifts for people too. So if you know somebody that likes plants, you can gift them some aloe babies and let them know that it came from your aloe, so they're getting a part of your family. No, that one has some really good roots. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and plant one, but it's recommended that, oh, that one's super small. It's recommended that you do let them sit and dry out for a few days. And that's just to help let the roots heal. So if there's any root damage, you want it to kind of scab over a little bit. Okay. Got a few more little ones in here. They're hanging on to mom. There's another one. Try not to make a huge mess. This one's hanging on to mom. And if you do have some that are really just not wanting to let go, you can cut them. Because I think this one, oh, there it goes. Just be really careful if you are cutting. Make sure you use something sharp, like a razor blade or really sharp scissors. All right, we just have a couple more that are hanging on. This one had a lot of babies. Look at that one, that's a really long root. Okay, so it looks like all of the children. And then you're just gonna put that parent plant back. This is also a good time if you need to kind of adjust your plant. So if it's leaning a certain direction, you can plant it in a different direction. I'm just going to kind of plop it in for now. And then I'll come back later and plant it correctly. But we're just going to do this just to get it out of the way so I can show you how to plant the baby. And I just used normal potting soil for mine because that's what I had at the time when I was given this parent plant. You can buy special soil mixes that are designed for aloe plants or kind of your desert type plants. So if you want to do that, you can. I just used what I had and it turned out really well. Okay, so I'm gonna move this fella over here. Go. And then for planting, I just have a pot with some normal potting mix in it. I did make sure it was not super dry because I do want it to have some moisture. Again, remember if you are doing this, you do want to let these sit for a day or two to dry out, just in case there were any roots that were damaged or exposed, they need a scab over. I'm just gonna go ahead and plant it just so I can show you guys. It's really simple. All you do is make a little indention hole, make sure it's deep enough for the roots. You don't want those roots to be bunched up. Go. And then just cover it. You don't have to press super hard on the soil. I'm gonna have to make that a little bit. There we go. Just so it's standing up. And it's that simple. So we have our little baby aloe plant just for you, Jacqueline. You requested it, so this is your baby. When I see you again, it'll be waiting for you in the office. So we have an aloe plant. Okay. So now that we've got that done, we're gonna work on the larger planters. So I have purchased my planter that I'm gonna use, my pot, my container, and you do have to pay attention when you get these because sometimes they do not come with holes in the bottom. It's really important to have holes in the bottom so you can get drainage. If you're not getting drainage, you're gonna have a lot of water buildup, and then that can cause a lot of issues with your plants. So make sure that it has holes in it or you have the ability to put holes in it. So this one, if you flip it over, you can see that there are places where you can use a screwdriver and a hammer and then you just punch a hole through. Now it only has 2 of those. I like to have more so I have plenty of drainage. So I would just use a drill. Get a grown-up's help if you need this. Make sure you do have adult supervision if you are drilling holes in these. Make sure you keep your hands away so if it slides or anything, it doesn't get your hand. So I'm gonna drill. Oh look, I punched a hole in that one. So I'm gonna drill a few extras. There we go. So we now have our holes in the bottom. And this is going to have that drainage so we don't have a bunch of water building up. Because if you have a lot of heavy rain or you overwater, that water sits in there, it's going to affect the roots. And basically you're going to drown your plant. And we definitely do not want to do that. So make sure you do have proper drainage with your container that you're using when planting things. And the next thing you would do is add some soil. I usually just get a potting mix. I'm going to use this Miracle Grow potting mix just because it does have plant food in it already. That's going to help your plants grow a little faster and so that I don't have to remember to add extra fertilizer or anything else to it. And with the magic of TV, look, it's full. Okay, so we have some potting mix in here and I'm actually going to set you guys up a little bit higher so you can see what I'm doing. So these are actually multi-purpose planters today. There we go. So we have our planter with our potting mix in it. And now we're gonna add some plants. So some of you guys did vote on what we're gonna be adding to this. So you guys did get to help decide what we're adding to the mix. So I have my thrillers, fillers, and spillers. So our thrillers were those things that kind of stand up high and kind of showy. We have our fillers that kind of fill in the rest of the area. And then our spillers are the ones that will go over the actual planter. So that is kind of our little setup that we have. So we have our pot, I have my plants. So I did buy a nice little variety of things. I did kind of go with the theme of Americana, so I had a few people vote for that. And that fits really well with our front porch because we have our flag out front. I did paint our mailbox and shutters a blue, so it goes perfect with it. So that's also why I bought this blue container to plant our flowers in too. So I'm going to start with my thrillers. So I have the spike plant here, so it has a lot of height to it. And it is kind of nice before you commit to putting it in the soil, arranging it if you can. So some of these are loose, so I can easily just kind of put them up there and see if I like them. Something else to consider is, will anybody see the backside? So if this is going to be up against your house or a fence, will somebody really see the backside? Maybe not. So instead of putting those thrillers in the middle, you might position them further in the back because nobody's going to see any of the plants that you put back here. So you might as well have your tall stuff here. And because I am putting this one against my house, I'm going to do that. So instead of having it in the middle, I'm going to kind of place it back a little bit more. And then I have some plants that do get tall that we're going to put around this. So we have our red and our white here. So those are going to be my thrillers. And then my fillers are going to be those shorter flowers. I have these little guys here. So I have 3 of these that I'll kind of scatter. And then I have some Dusty Miller too that I'll mix around here. And then I have some Alyssum. I actually found this, it's not quite blue, but there's not a lot of blue flowers out there, so this is the closest thing. They do have a blue hint to them, so people will understand, hey, that's blue. So I'm going to add these, and I also have some of these in white too. So you can kind of see how you like it, so just take a look at it. If you need to move things around, move them around, you can. And then my spillers, they didn't have what I actually wanted, sweet potato vine, so instead I got Vinca Vine. I just got one of these because then I also got some wave petunias, and these will actually spill out of the container too. So I'll use some of these. And I have a second container too, so I'll be doing 2 of these, and I'll just plant them kind of mirror image so they look the same. Alright, so I'm going to take all those out, and then we're going to actually put them in. So the spike plant I'm going to put right here. Just use your hands. If you don't want to use your hands, you can have like a small garden shovel and just make a space that's big enough or a little bit bigger than the size of the pot. You want to have it deep enough that it's going to cover up all the roots, so the base of the plant, but it really doesn't have to be that deep. Okay, just deep enough so it's going to be nice and sturdy. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of press it down, press the soil down around it to help keep it in place. We have little ground squirrels that like to hang around in our neighborhood, so we do have to kind of tuck things in tight so they're not getting into it. I don't know what they're going after, but they think they need something. Okay, and then I have 3 of these, and I have 3 of the white ones too. So I'm going to kind of alternate it. So I'm going to put one here. If this was like perennials that I was planting, the plants that grow each year, a lot of times I try to remember to keep the tag in there so I remember what it was. It doesn't always work out, but I try to do that because I usually forget what I plant. And sometimes I really like it. I'm like, oh, I'll get that next year because it was so beautiful. But then I forget to do that. Okay. So he's going to plant. What? Yeah. You want to help, Lily? Come on in. So this is my daughter, Lily. We just happen to be wearing the same shirt today. I think that's kind of funny. I didn't even realize she was putting that one on. And Lily is a Girl Scout, but she is a Daisy, soon to be Brownie. Once they do their bridging, she will be a Brownie because she'll be in 2nd grade next year. Okay, I'm going to finish planting these, and then I'm going to let you help with the other ones.
Ooh. This one kind of looks like a rose.
Kind of looks like a rose?
It's kind of hard to.
It's kind of hard. Okay. Get that one in. And really make sure you are looking at those tags before purchasing, because some plants get tall and some don't get as tall as you think they might. So keep that in mind. I think I'm actually just going to throw this one in the back. There we go. Okay, so Lily, you want to help with some of the other planting? Okay, which type do you want to plant?
I'm going to plant these.
Well, not those. So these or these red ones right here or the white?
The white.
Okay, so she wants to plant some of the Dusty Millers. Okay, you want to come over here so you can get to it better?
Yeah.
So you're just going to make a little hole. Actually, let's put those a little bit closer up here. So make a little hole. Actually, I'll make the hole and then you put the plant in. How about that?
Yay.
There we go.
Ooh. But first you just take one out?
Here, I'll take them out for you. So you're going to take these out. And you do want to be careful when you're taking them out of the pack. You don't want to pull too hard and break off the stem. This one, you can see the roots are kind of in here. So I'm just going to break them up just a little bit so they pull out a little easier, because this plant just had a really great root system. It's ready to get out of this small little container.
There's one.
There we go. Okay.
Whoa.
And then before I forget, I didn't show you guys the pothos cuttings that we did. So these are the pothos cuttings that we did.
They're really tall.
And you can kind of see this white area. That's where it's starting to root. See if the camera will focus on it. There you can kind of see it. Kind of looks like a little claw. So that's a root forming there. So like I said, these take about a month.
A month?
Before they really grow a nice root system. But they're doing their job. They're looking good. We'll check on them again next week. Okay, got them all in there, Lily?
Now I'm putting the dirt right there.
Okay, so put dirt around it, kind of press down on it a little bit.
I did it with the other one.
Good job.
And my hands are getting dirty.
That usually happens when you're playing in dirt.
I know.
Okay, so next we're going to add these little guys here too to add that little pop of red. And we'll actually kind of stick them close to where...
Roly polies!
There's a roly poly in there, yay!
I almost catch one. Got a roly
So we'll add these in here too to add that little splash of red by that white.
I gotta go rolling the ball when I hold it. Ah! It's tickling my fingers!
It's tickling your finger. Okay. So I think I'm gonna put one.
Ah! It's like that on my phone.
Hey, don't be so loud, please. Right here. And again, make sure you're paying attention to how tall they get, because you don't want to put these in front of something that's not going to get very tall, because then it's going to kind of just hide it. So you want to make sure you're able to see what you're planting. So we got those in.
Roly poly. Yeah, so.
And then the next one we're going to add are the alyssum. So this is kind of a bluish hue.
That's tickling me.
I'm going to pull them out first. And then we're just going to plug them in. These are going to be a little bit shorter than some of these guys, so I do want them up a little bit closer. I am going to sprinkle a few here and here just to help fill the space. Because the other ones don't get too terribly big. Actually, I'm going to put a white one over there. So I'm going to add the blue one here. And here.
I'm going to put you back in here.
And if you feel like you don't have enough soil in there, you can always go back and add a little bit more to it too. You don't want to add too much soil so that when you water it or it rains, that the soil starts spilling out of your container. So remember not to overdo it, but you definitely don't want to underdo it.
That roly poly tickled me. Another roly poly. No,
One more of these, and then we're going to add our spillers in. Oh, I was going to put one here. That's where it was. Go. And it might not look very impressive right now, but once these start growing, it's really going to fill in and look amazing. our spillers next. I'm going to go ahead and add this Vinca Vine right up kind of in the middle in front. I'm going to make my space because this is a little bit bigger container than the other ones. Let gravity help you when you're taking these out too. So hold it upside down.
Are there any worms in there?
I doubt there's any worms in there. Usually worms don't get in them until they're outside.
Oh, only roly-polies live in them first?
I guess those roly-polies moved in. Okay, and you do want to kind of spill over the side, and as they start growing, if they're not doing that, kind of encourage them to. So just lean them over. Eventually, they're going to start spilling. And then the petunias, the wave petunias are next. So I'm going to go ahead. Spikes going in my mouth. Make a little space there.
Huh? The roly-poly want to get on plant? Mom, why haven't we put a roly-poly on this little leaf?
Well, don't put them right there because I'm about to put a plant in that hole.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And if you ever find that the roots are really bunched up, you can kind of loosen those. So just kind of move them and separate them a little bit. That will help those roots spread out a little bit more too. So I'm going to add 3 of these. These are a red color. And of course they come in lots of different colors, but I went ahead and went with red for the spiller because I do have a blue pot, so I thought a red would be a good option. Or I would have done white, but I kind of like the red ones a little better. Okay. And then I think I'm going to add one more. So 6 to a pack, so I can use 3 for this pot and then 3 for the other one. And I'm actually going to add it right here. And if you're going along and you want to move something, feel free to move it. Don't feel like you have to commit to that spot once you plant it. They can move. Okay, so we have our container all done. That easy. So get out there, think about what you want to do for your garden. Like I said, this can be a garden. This is a garden in a pot. Super simple to do. And if you can't actually dig in your yard, this is a great option because you can just set it wherever you want to. Or if you have areas, like with me, some of my sunniest areas are where there's some kind of structure or sidewalk. So these are things that you can easily put by those sidewalks or on the sidewalks if you need to. So, excuse me, Lily, did you drop the roly-poly?
I think.
So now we have a roly-poly on the loose.
Where is it?
Alright, so join me next week because we have one more part to the Gardener Badge. So next week we'll meet again Wednesday at 3 p.m. Again, if you can't make it at that time, we post the video afterwards so you can watch it whenever you have the time. So Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the GSCI page. Supplies-wise, you really don't need much. You just need the stuff to plant your garden. So supplies for next week, you're going to need your fruits or your vegetables that you want to plant. And if you plan on not putting it in the soil, you'll have to get a container and potting mix for whatever you're planting. Okay? So super simple for next week. And next week, I will be showing you how to plant some container vegetables and fruits. So I'm going to do some strawberries. I have eggplant, which is actually right here. So eggplants. And squash. Wait, what is this? Oh, that's something I didn't plant. My squash must be this size though. So I have squash too, and I feel like there's something else, but maybe not. So I'll show you how to plant those in some containers. Other things that we have going on Thursday this week, we have our 20-minute try-its, and then we also have our pop-up shop. So if you need some retail therapy again, you'll want to join our pop-up shop and see what's popping there. They're going to be highlighting the cookie incentives that you can purchase with your cookie dough. And then on Friday is live from camp, and they'll be doing camp crafts. And that's a Facebook Live at 12 p.m. So hopefully you can join us for some of those activities as well. And we love it when you guys share what you're doing. So if you've been doing any of these activities and you want to show us what you've done, or if you did that seed experiment and you want to share what yours look like, you can use the hashtag GSCI Shines On and post that on Facebook and we'll be able to see it. So let us know what you're doing. We love seeing what you guys are up to. Okay, so hopefully you had some fun today. Hopefully you get out there and start thinking about what you want to plant in your garden. Visit other gardens for inspiration. So just walk around your neighborhood, see what you can find. And I'm sure there's something amazing out there for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed our planting today. And like I said, we'll check on those seeds next week too. And then I'll show you the pothos status too and how far along it is. So join us next week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. for part 3 of our Gardener Badge. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.